And we are back. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with us on another thrilling edition of the Doin Alright podcast here at Crown Global Media in the headquarters, Bryan. I'm on the Iron Throne. You're on your side of the mothership, man. We got some stuff. Got some stuff to talk about here, Bryan Broaddus. We're going to get into the Denver Broncos offense. The more I watch them, the more I would say compile interesting takes about them, Bryan.
Sure.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. But, Bryan, I would be a fool to come on here and not talk about the hot news in the Twitter sphere right now, Bryan Broaddus. Just looking around the social medias. YouTube page is getting plenty views talking about it, Bryan.
Yeah.
I'm one of them. Don DeMarco, Bryan. Trey Wingo popped out the other day. Yesterday. He says, breaking. I hate when they lead with breaking.
Right.
It's not official. I hate when they lead with breaking. But basically he said to the effect of the Cowboys have reached out to inquire. Basically, in so many words, the Cowboys have reached out to inquire about Maxx Crosby via the Vegas Raiders, Bryan Broaddus. Take this motherfucker. Broaddus.
Yeah.
Man, you talked about this a lot yesterday.
Yeah.
In our secret Illuminati chats, but it ain't always smart to go out loud until you get a bunch more information.
Right.
It's the day after, Bryan Broaddus. We've had an opportunity to wake up and kind of, sit on it for a little bit. What have you heard in regards to the Cowboys reaching out to the Raiders, the Maxx Crosby news? Is anything that you know?
Yeah, yesterday when after we had taped our show, then things kind of started breaking out, and you mentioned about with Trey Wingo, and Trey is an accomplished journalist, media member. He's got sources. He's got gals around the league that he talks to on a daily basis. So I wanted to make sure, okay, where did he get his information from? Where was it? Was it from the Cowboys side? And, Voch and I have our sources on the Cowboys side. I used to have sources on the Raiders side. No longer have that. But in visiting with people in the organizations about this, and mainly the Cowboys one, they were kind of talking about, hey, we're interested in the trade market. We're looking at things when it comes to potentially acquiring players. This one was not one that they had talked about yet. And so with that being said, okay, now you focus on the other side with what Trey said. Trey has got the Raiders perspective here. I don't think he has the Cowboys perspective, but he has the Raiders perspective. Now you have to determine, where is Trey Wingo getting this? Is it coming from the front office? Is it come from the coaches? I believe that Trey Wingo is probably talking to the coaches, is what he's doing here. And so with that being said, that's okay. That's good. Those coaches are good sources if that's the case. So if you're looking at how this is all playing out, then you kind of look at it and say, okay, if it was Jerry Jones and Mark Davis, and both the gentlemen were at the NFL owners meeting yesterday, so then you've got that that opportunity for a face-to-face. I think Trey Wingo is absolutely right about what the Raiders are trying to do, and maybe they're trying to float some ideas, and that thing went really, really fast. Made national news in that regard. So good for Trey for doing that. He's got his sources, like I said. On the Cowboys side of it, they're like, whoa, wait a minute. No, we haven't done this. But I want to believe. And then there's others like Jane Slater, and I want to believe. There's others like Jane Slater and others that have kind of, Tom Pelissaro, that have kind of thrown it's not really the Raiders are talking to him. They really don't want to trade. We heard the same thing from Stephen Jones. We were standing there myself at Nobu when Stephen Jones said, no, I'm not going to trade Micah Parsons. He said that. He said, no, there's no reason I'm not going to do this. I think this is still on. I really, really do. And there's others out there. Follow the Jane Slaters, follow the Tom Pelissaros, follow the Trey Wingos, follow us, follow Voch Lombardi, follow all of us here, on Crown Global Media, because we're going to have ideas of this. But I don't think this is dead. I really don't. I mean, I think that it got out. It spread very quickly, and now you've got the parties involved trying to kind of kind of damper the fire a little bit, kind of put the fire out. So, but I personally don't think this is over, because I do believe that the Cowboys are actively searching for players in this upcoming trade deadline.
So, Bryan, if I could just make a guess, and you can please tell me if my guess is incorrect or if I'm on the right track, Bryan. Assumingly so.
Yeah.
Maybe front office is consulting with people around their building facility.
Right.
They went to some coach and said, "Man, look, man, we ain't winning. We're gonna have to something. This is just me assuming. Nothing.
Right.
I'm not saying nothing official. Man, we're probably gonna have to retool and
Right.
so we can get some draft. What do y'all think about moving on from Maxx?
Yeah.
I was thinking about calling Dallas to see how they feel about Maxx. I know they got some picks. We need some picks. Maxx maybe wants to win a Super Bowl. I don't think he's gonna get it here. What do you guys think from a D-line point of view, from your D-line point of view? What do you think this thing looks like? Are there some young guys that we can, if we move on from Maxx, what about our young guys? And that conversation,
Right.
Trey Wingo, yeah, Trey, man, I ain't gonna lie, man, we've been talking about moving on from Maxx. He might end up in Dallas somewhere.
Yeah.
And Trey says, what you mean Dallas reached out to y'all about Maxx Crosby?
Right.
Do you think that that's how that chain of events possibly could have gone?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
But Mark hasn't officially talked to Jerry and Steven.
yeah, that's where I think that, to me, this is the best opportunity would been at the NFL owners meetings yesterday on Tuesday for Jerry and Steven to go to Mark Davis and be able to kind of maybe lay some groundwork. Like, if you guys are interested, what is this going to cost us? I mean, you can have some conversation, casual conversations. It happens all the time at those meetings, and Jerry even brought that up on 105.3 The Fan. He even talked about, yes, it's an owners meeting, but you have key personnel in place to be able to handle any kind of requests that might be made. So I just feel like, though, that this got out, and again, tip of the cap to Trey Wingo for getting it out there. I just think that one party, especially the Raiders, are trying their best to kind of dampen that fire a little bit. But yeah, once those things kind of get out, it's hard. It's like putting toothpaste back in the tube. It just doesn't always work very well. It could be really, really messy. So everybody's trying to do their best. But I would like to say, I would continue to follow the Jane Slaters of the world. I think Jane's got some excellent sources in this thing on both sides of the ledger here. So we'll see. Me personally, I believe that the Cowboys need to keep after this one.
What does he do for this defense? What does he do?
I think when you start to talk about him as a player,
yeah,
his ability to create pressure,
sure,
even not getting sacks, his ability to affect the way the game is played, his ability to when you start to talk about disruptive players, Micah Parsons, disruptive players, Myles Garrett, disruptive players. This is one of those types of guys. This is a guy that all of a sudden, if you don't account for him as a pass rusher or a run defender, he is going to make plays. That's just the type of player he is. So you will see teams commit numerous blockers in his direction, slide the line, chip him, space him, do all the things you do to these outstanding pass rushers. But Voch, you still see productivity as from the player. With all that going on, he has that rare ability to affect the game without getting sacks.
Bryan, is this Cowboy defense a player away from, I don't want to say matching the offensive energy, because the offense is number 1, number 2, number 3 in the league.
Yeah.
But do you think that the Cowboys are one player away from really being a contender? Or, because he wouldn't be the only player, it'll be like him and Overshown and Revel, right?
Right.
You think that those 3 players, and you still got some picks, you can still spend a 5th rounder on that safety you've been looking for, Bryan. Do you think that the Cowboys are like those players away? Because thinking about just a collection of players, yeah, you may be 5 players away.
Right.
But are you an elite edge and a really good linebacker away. You know, I think one Maxx Crosby is worth like 4 regular dudes.
Yeah.
In real life. And honestly, I saw some things on social media that was leaning on the idea of, well, you just you traded away Micah Parsons just to get Maxx Crosby back. It doesn't make sense. And I go, well, Micah is the better pass rusher for sure. Max is a better complete dude. And even if Micah's the number 1,
right,
Max is at least 3 or 4.
Right.
So now it's like Micah or Max, Kenny Clark, some draft picks, and maybe like one other dude.
Yeah, that's where I think you're.
And then the money to re-sign Pickens. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's where I think that you have to look at this as, you know, what are you getting in return from the trade for Micah Parsons? And now the question, Voch, that you have to ask yourself is, though, where are you going to go? And what's the compensation for this? I know there's some people that are clearly committed. The people mainly that are committed to, like, listen, this is the best that we've seen Dak Prescott play in a long time. Don't waste that. Yeah. If it takes 2 first-round picks, go. But there's some people that are very cautiously saying, well, I don't know if I would give up 2 first-round picks to go get this particular player. Voch, this is the question I want to ask you.
Hell yeah, Brian.
And this is where I would worry a little bit, is we talked about adding, you know, using the 2 first-round picks. Oh. Where I'm worried, and I want to know your side of it, put yourself in the front office situation. I want you to give the talk on why you would do this. And I want you to do it in a way, because what's going to happen is there's somebody in the organization that's going to stand up and say, well, wait a minute, Jerry, we've got Overshown coming back. Sure. We've got Revel coming. We've got guys coming back. Do we have to sacrifice our first round picks? We've got guys coming back. Mm-hmm. I want you to argue against those people why you would do this.
Well, person, right now you're having close fights with bad teams. That's your first issue.
Yeah.
You don't want to be competitive with Giants, Bears, Panthers. You want to be competitive with 49ers, Lions, Eagles.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, one player coming back may put you over the hump to win some of these one-score games versus bad teams. But this offense is special enough to beat anybody in the league. If you look at what the Lions are doing offensively, 49ers, Eagles are doing on offense, there's an argument that your offense is producing better than theirs.
Right.
The problem is if you play them, your defense gets whooped at the same rate that a bad team would whoop them if it was a good team.
Right.
I don't want to live in this world where I'm just going to assume that Dak Prescott being good right now is going to be the same Dak Prescott next year. Right. I know he's elite now. Right. That don't mean he's going to be elite next year. Jalen Hurts had a real elite-looking year one year. The next year, he looked real crazy. Matt Ryan is another example of it going real bad, real fast. So, yeah, you could have this future sight and go, oh, we got 3-4 more years of Dak. Let's just build slow. I'm going, this may not be here next year or year after or year after.
Yeah.
Pickens on a 1-year deal. It ain't guaranteed that you want to be here neither.
That's where I'm everything that you're talking about, I'm totally agreeing with you on. And I would argue, and I think you present a really good argument about that, because to me, I'm looking at Pickens on a 1 year. I'm looking at Dak playing at a MVP kind of a level right now. Sure. I'm looking at a running game. What happens with Williams in the future? You know, I don't know. I'm trying to kind of, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I right now am good enough to beat these teams in some one-score games, but can I defeat Green Bay? Can I defeat Detroit? Can I defeat Philadelphia? Can I defeat, those teams that you're going to play down the stretch that are to determine whether you're into the playoffs or not? The argument I would absolutely make is it's like, and for the 2 number 1 picks on me personally is, let's not waste this. Mm-hmm. Let's not. We made a bold move last offseason to go get George Pickens. It's a bold move for us. Yeah, here we are. We're going to give another 3rd-round pick away. Everybody's going, hey, we're crazy for doing this. We did it with Mingo. All we do is just give away picks for receivers. This one paid off. Go make another bold move like this. And I, you know what? To me, if you have to use the 2-1s to go get a guy like Maxx Crosby, who you have contractually in control of, now who knows? He might, in this organization, might hold out on you, want more money and all that. But right now, go make this kind of deal. And then add those other defensive pieces that you're talking about. Don't just think that, and it's a hell of a lot of pressure to put on Overshone. It's a hell of a lot of pressure to put, on Ravel to say, oh, hey, you guys just come on, you're just going to step in and save this defense. Maxx Crosby and those additions could make you a defense, like you said, that could deal with the better teams in NFC. And right now, other than like Detroit, maybe San Francisco, Tampa, those teams are the ones right now that we're kind of looking at as the better teams. You now have a chance to go and compete with those teams and beat those teams.
Plus, if you are a rebuilding team, then sure, keep those picks. Don't be aggressive if you Carolina or something.
Right.
Yeah, take those 4-1s and them 2s and go out there and build for your future. But it ain't guaranteed that the first round pick that you sign, by the time he gets his 5th-year option, it ain't guaranteed Dak even going to be here.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you might as well look at it like imaginary. The window is so tight, like it's so closed, that we need to try to get something done this year. And then Dak's like hurt guy too. Like it doesn't make sense to call yourself prolonging this thing like that. Dak's an old man, so I'm willing to use as many resources as possible. Quickly, Brian, do you think that the same conversation is being had about Trey Hendrickson in Cincinnati?
I think that maybe that there's the possibility. I think they're focusing on all the available defenders. How about potentially Phillips down there in Miami as well? Those prices are not going to be as steep as what you do with to go out and get Crosby. But you can't sit there and just say we're putting all our eggs in the Maxx Crosby basket. You've got to be able, if you could go and make a move, and you and I have gotten pretty good at this draft and stuff, that if I have to give up a 2nd-round pick to go get somebody, I know I could take that Green Bay pick and move it and get a 2nd-round pick. Yeah. I know I can move it and get a 3rd-round pick, third. I could get some assets for that pick, especially if it's the back end. Hell, I could even move my pick if I had to get assets. So don't worry about. You're going to have compensatories. You're going to have the ability to trade back potentially if you want and pick up picks with the picks that you had with the 1st-round capital you had. So don't let that deter you. But I am not just putting all my eggs in the Crosby basket. I'm trying my best to call every team. I'm trying to look for edges. I'm trying to look for linebackers. If somebody has a safety that interests me, I sure might talk about that. I don't think there's any position on that defense that I wouldn't look at.
Man, Bryan Broaddus, I'm noticing this phenomenon going on around the league, man. Little phenomenon going on around the league. These power running football teams masquerading as gunslinging passing squads.
Sure.
What's going on with these people, man?
Yeah.
I be looking at San Fran like, y'all really a running power team.
Right.
With your fullback and your running back. Why they be making Mac Jones throw the ball all them times, bro? What be going on? Detroit has turned themselves into quite the run first squad. But they'll make Jared Goff go out there and throw the ball a little bit. What's going on with y'all? What y'all doing, Brian? Bo Nix threw the ball 50 times last week, Brian. What?
Had to.
You had to. He be throwing the ball. He been throwing it all year, Brian. I'm like, man, I didn't think that Bo Nix was a guy that I'd have a ton of faith in throwing the football like that.
Sure.
I mean, he does cool. He does fine. I don't think he's like a Jordan Love, Jaden Daniels passer,
Yeah.
I think he really benefits from his wide receivers being yak guys, Brian. I think that really helps.
That helps him a lot, yeah.
Helps a bunch. And they've played against some bad tackling defenses too, but the Cowboys is one of them, so whatever. I think they really want to get a ball to the running back though, Brian. They really want to give it to Dobbins.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins, man. And I think that him plus Sutton plus even Marvin Mims to an extent, Brian, right. you got to tackle these characters.
Yeah.
You got to tackle these characters. So if you're a bad tackling Cowboy squad, this might be a week where you want to, practice in pads and work on that, Brian, because if you don't tackle this group, then they're going to get after you. I do think if you tackle well, you'll have an opportunity to put Bo Nix in a vicarious situation where he got to beat you throwing the football.
Right.
I think that's what we really want.
Right.
Assuming Trey Diggs comes back, I think Cortland Sutton is a matchup that works well for him.
Mm-hmm.
Cortland Sutton being a bigger body character,
Right.
not really the twitchy side to side kind. I think that's a good little matchup for Diggs.
Right.
Everybody else can kind of get in where they fit in. I know the Cowboys ran more man last week. I don't think they run as much man this week.
I don't think they do either.
I think they're going to look at Bo Nix as one of them weird processing characters that
Right.
maybe don't see it all that well.
Right.
I think they're going to clog. They may blitz a little bit. We'll see. Just to kind of speed his clock up a little bit. But I think they're going to force Bo Nix to try to make decisions and hold the ball and get himself caught up in this backfield here there, Brian. It's imperative that you shut down the run.
Yeah.
It's imperative that you come up and tackle the running back, tackle these receivers.
Right.
I think if you do that, I think that'll give you a really good opportunity to beat the Broncos on.
I think you got this thing nailed pretty well, my friend. To me, this is where you're probably going to see man coverage was dictated by the way that quarterback last week played, against the opponents leading up to that game. So to me, now you look at Bo Nix, and where Bo Nix has struggled has been against when he's had to make some tight window throws. He struggled a little bit with some open receivers, and he struggled with his accuracy. He's about a 62% passer. And that kind of goes back a little bit to his days at Auburn. Then when he goes to Oregon, becomes a little bit of a much better passer. Dan Lanning and those coaches did a really nice job of making him a much better passer. Sean Payton, I think, is one of the better coaches in the National Football League. I say that because I have a relationship with him, but I've seen him work with young guys and be able to do this. What Sean's doing right now is when you look at the Broncos, and we always like to come on and talk about teams that play with motion, teams that try and create opportunities or take advantage with motion. This is one of the teams in the bottom third of the league when it comes to motion offense. Only the Giants' rookie quarterback and the Titans' rookie quarterback run less motion than the Denver Broncos. Early in the year, they really didn't run motion. Now, the last couple of weeks, you've seen more motion with this crew. So what is they trying to do? Maybe they're trying to help their quarterback is starting to feel more comfortable moving guys around, reading defenses, seeing all those things. That's something that the Cowboys are going to try and do here. Now, another thing when you look at this quarterback and the way he plays, he's a runner. And he's a drop back and run if he has to. That is very, very clear when you watch their tape. When he feels like that he's in any kind of peril, he sees a lane, he's going to take off running. He's a tough guy that way. He would rather run than throw the ball, I think, at times. Just because he knows, okay, I get a fresh set of downs, fight for some more plays. But you're talking about a team that when you look at them and how they run the ball, teams that have played stack box against these guys have had some success. When the Broncos face a neutral box with, say, 7 defenders or a light box with 6 defenders, they've had a little bit some success doing it that way. But when it turns to they play stack box, they're 28th in the league when it comes to that. And you can watch how people control the run a little bit on them by making them have to. This is a power gap scheme, I believe, zone scheme. They're going to bring pullers. It's very similar to what the Cowboys try and do running the football. But they don't have all the motions involved with it. What unusual too is like the Cowboys, they'll play with a fullback. We've Voch mentioned it earlier. Teams like San Francisco, they play with Kyle Juszczyk. I think Sean Payton has taken some of those elements from the 49ers and how they play with a fullback. Maybe not to the point where that's Juszczyk with the motions and stuff like that, but you do see them line up with a fullback. You see them line up in what we call pistol formation, where they line up with the back right behind the quarterback. The team that does that the absolute most is the Atlanta Falcons, and then they hand the ball off out of that as they're doing their blocking schemes. So I anticipate, though, that you might see some more heavy box this week against the Broncos, but you might also, like you say, see a little bit more zone coverage. And you say a little bit more zone, Brian, they play a ton of zone here already. I think they're going to adapt to Bo Nix and make him have to read read where guys are, because you watch his mistakes, and they haven't been sacked a whole bunch, but you watch his mistakes is when he holds the ball and he starts to run around, and then they pinch the pocket on him, and then he gets in trouble that way.
People ask me sometimes, Brian, when I come up here and do my analysis on these guys, I always say pressure gets to them. They're one of these guys that they can't deal with pressure.
Right.
And some question that I get sometimes is, well, Voch, aren't all quarterbacks bad under pressure?
Not all of them.
Well, I want everybody to think about Dak and how he handles pressure. Right?
Exactly.
Dak, if he's getting blitzed from the left side, then Dak understands that, well, okay, well, there's a hot on the left side. I can get the ball right there, and there's a pass I can make. Or if somebody's blitzing down the middle of something, Dak has the ability to hang in, and wait for something. At the last second, right before Dak gets hit, Dak will throw the ball downfield. Some of these quarterbacks that we've been talking about, Justin Fields will do it. Jalen Hurts is pretty bad at it. Jaden Daniels was a guy last week. When the blitz comes to them, their eyes drop and they run around a little bit. Bo Nix is one of these same characters. I encourage every last one of y'all, when y'all going out, watch the film, and you can categorize it as Broncos sack times that Bo Nix has been sacked. Most of the time is him looking downfield, holding it, looking down, and running around in a circle until somebody gets him. So that's why I would say, well, maybe that's why they run a little more zone this week to try to confuse them and mix them up a little bit. Also, too, individually, they don't give up a whole bunch. They're a pretty good offensive line. Garrett Bowles is cool. We know him. He's been getting money. He's been getting money in the league for years. Quinn Miners, Powers, all those guys. It's kind of two places where I would go after him.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear where you got it.
I want to go after the center.
Yeah.
Because I think the center can give up a little bit of mess. And I'm going to do a film breakdown on Thursday, Brian, but I also notice twist stunts on the right side.
Right.
Quinn Miners gets turned sometimes.
Right.
So when you look at sacks, that's typically how Bo Nix get hit. So if you're the Cowboys, this would be a perfect time to take Kenny Clark, line him right up over the center. You can get the left guard too. Let me just be clear.
Right.
All the left guards over there can get got. If you want to beat the left guard with some quickness with Osa, then you can knock yourself out there. But I think beating the center with power and gap exchanging on the right side of the line there, the right guard and the right tackle. Quinn Miners is really aggressive, and he gets turned a lot sometimes. So you can anchor to his outside and loop somebody back inside. I think the Broncos gave up 3 sacks like that. What did you see?
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. Once again, this is the when you look at the way that Miners and then McGlinchey, the right tackle, if you go back to the days, and if with McGlinchey was with San Francisco, and then Micah Parsons, they had some success rushing him as a right tackle. You're absolutely right about the twist stunts, the gap exchanges, things like that. If you look at last week too, and we all know from experience that the Giants are a good pass rushing team, but across the board, they were 3 pressures, 2 pressures, 2 pressures. I mean, everybody that played in that game last week gave up a pressure, multiple pressures. And then, as I mentioned, Mike McGlinchey, he gave up 3 pressures and then the sack as well. So there's going to be some opportunities. Now, this team will keep guys in to block. They will keep tight ends. If they feel like that you're a team that's going to give them problems with some of the edges, they will keep their tight ends in. They will try and go a little bit of like, we'll sacrifice routes to be able to make sure that our quarterback has the opportunity. But his ability to scramble will be big in this game. But Voch is absolutely right, though. There are spots along this offensive line, especially on that right side, where you need to go after and attack with some quickness and a lot of movement.
But man, Bryan Broaddus, hear me when I say I'm a creature of habit, Bryan Broaddus. Mm-hmm. On their practice squad, they got a cat named Carson Barnhart.
Is he going to block well in this one?
I never heard of this guy. I don't know who the hell Carson Barnhart is, Bryan Broaddus. But in the event that something catastrophic happens, and they got to roll this character out there to tackle Brian,
PFF's going to have him as a
93, 98. Ain't not going to have no problem with these people, man.
I hope not. Yeah.
Y'all won't have to show me, man.
Yeah.
I was very encouraged by Clowney and what he did last week.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can do it again. He was getting most of his plays on the right tackle, Josh Connerly. We kind of highlighted that in the film package last week.
Right.
I think both these tackles probably a little better than Connerly.
Sure.
Neither one of these tackles are better than Tunzel, though, so that kind of helps out a little bit.
That helps out a little bit.
But, Brian, I'm not going to anticipate on nobody whooping no one-on-ones to go get pressure on Bo Nix.
Yeah.
It's going to have to happen in the interior over the center, or it's going to have to be a gap exchange somewhere. I don't really see us getting pressure until the Cowboys come out and prove it to me. I do think Donovan Ezraku was on the up and up. I don't want James Robinson rushing against Laramie Tunzel all game, so we'll see what he does this week. And hopefully Clowney can build on what he did last week.
Yeah, they really try. They leave their tackles in one-on-one positions. There's teams that do this, but the Broncos are roughly about 80-85% just one-on-ones. I mentioned to try and keep guys in to help and things like that, but for the majority of their pass blocking snaps, they leave these tackles one-on-one. Let's see if Dallas can take advantage of them. I could say, I think Voch is right. I think Bowles, I'm quite say that a lot. Voch is right. Yeah, Bowles. But I say that a lot about you being right. But the thing about it is, though, with Bowles, I think he's a good left tackle. But I keep saying on the other side, though, McGlinchey, I think that's the area. But these guys are going to be left one-on-one, and you need to take advantage of as many of those situations as you can.
Just some cleanup work here, Bryan Broaddus. The tight ends are not inspiring. I don't really see them get involved too much, so I won't talk too much about them. There are times when they'll take Dobbins off the field and they got a pass catcher running back Tyler Beatty.
Yeah.
He'll go out there in pass catching situations. But on that same token, I think you could take advantage of him in rushing the passer as well, Brian. You remember Pat Bryant in draft season, Brian?
I do.
I think they're going to be getting him going a little bit this week. I've been seeing on the social medias that they've been wanting to get him going. And, we kind of like Pat Bryant a little bit last year. I believe Cincinnati, Illinois, one of them teams.
Illinois,
wide receiver, Pat Bryant.
Good size.
And Troy Franklin, he's our ex-Oregon guy.
Right.
So they got some wide receivers that we recognize there. For the most part, it's going to be the Sutton and Mims show. I think that's all the cleanup I really got. I think the Broncos offense is what they are. Deal with the run.
Right.
Make sure that you tackle the wide receivers and just I'm talking Flus again. Do the best that you can to be creative with your stunt packages and all that, and mix up the man in zone. I think you'll be fine. Defensively versus these guys.
Yeah. The thing about it is, though, like last week the Giants did a really good job for 3 quarters, and then the thing got into the 4th quarter, and then things kind of switched for them a little bit. They went away from some of the things that they were good at. Did they get wore down because of altitude in that game? Heck, they remind you when you show up at that stadium, you see a sign that says, "Hey, welcome to Mile High City." It's elevations this, and they're like, now they're in your head about, oh my gosh, I can't breathe and that kind of thing. So, the Giants did a really, really good job, though. Dallas needs to find a way to finish this football game. If they get in that same situation where they go into the 4th quarter up 19-0, they do not need to give up anything in that game. They need to stay after this quarterback. He will make some mistakes. He'll make some mistakes in the pocket throwing the football. He'll try and fit some balls in he probably shouldn't fit. And then he's also fumbled in the pocket as well. If you can get to him, get around him, kind of affect him that way, that could go a long way to giving to maybe securing a victory here. I was encouraged by the way that the Giants offense was able to move the ball against Denver. I'm really interested to see the nuts and bolts of how they did it. But I'll tell you what, though, that was encouraging because Denver's done a great job defensively. I know we'll get into that tomorrow. Yeah,
they're a whole nother crew, man. We're going to talk about those guys, and that's going to be a more fruitful conversation.
Sure.
We'll cross that bridge whenever we get there. I love your hat.
Right. Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, fantastic hat.
I got this from our shop.
Damn, I be son.
Yeah, how about that?
Doing all right. Crown Global Media merch is down in our description box. And Bryan Broaddus, it's getting cold outside, man.
It is getting chilly. About time for some hoodies.
Get y'all some outer garments. Get y'all some beanies that's on the way, man. We really do appreciate y'all and what y'all do. We've been seeing you guys show a lot of love in the shop there, so we appreciate y'all doing that. And hey, if y'all want to go on social media and show off what you got, we would love to see it. We would love to show off you showing off your new Crown Global Media Doing All Right merch. So we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. Be sure to follow us on all of our platforms. Thank you very much. That's Bryan Broaddus on VOCHLONBARDI. We'll be right back tomorrow to break down this Broncos defense. All right, y'all hold it down until next time. Crown.